Cena. But I'm grateful to all the BzNZ uh, viewers and those that are very, very supportive to Lord Tyrant Joe, doing a very excellent job here on the platform. And it's a lot of us that rock with you. We're standing solid with you. And that's really all that matters, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
Got to go toward the people. You got to go toward the people that's going towards you. That's my motto in everything, and that's family, friends, relationships, whatever it may be. You go in the direction of the individuals that's going towards you. So, with that being said, we're going to dive into some very, very selfish spirited individuals as we go to the scriptures. And the scriptures that I'm going to read from is I'm going to start here in Genesis 3. And we know the chapter well for us that are, in the Bible. Lord Tyron Joe has come out of this text many times, and he got some pushback, but we handled that, and it
All
ain't gonna
day, all
change.
day, all day. Yes,
So
sir.
the scripture says over in Genesis 3, chapter 3, starting with the third verse, it says, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent, he said unto the woman, and there's a reason why he went to her. Had a whole lot of opportunity to go to the man, but for some reason, he went to the one that just now came on the scene. And Paul likes to say it in his when he spoke on it, understand she was the one that was tricked, not the man. So there's a reason why those type of things are pointed out. And he said, Ye shall, God has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. He got to throw them little trick words in there. He got to change one a few things.
Yes,
For,
sir.
for those individuals that like to say date them all, when you sit at the table and they give you their mouthpiece, you might not walk away with your whole self.
Come
So
on.
you got a problem there. So this is something that's happening here. And it says, and the serpent says to the
What
woman, Ye
what
shall
verse
not,
are you at?
verse 4
Okay.
says, and the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. And 5, for God doth know that in that day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods. Now I want y'all to keep your focus locked on that. Ye shall be as God, knowing
Mm.
good and evil, because
Come on.
that was the selling point that pushed her over the edge. Because we know that the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, the pride of life are what's in these bodies. We were born with a nature. And see, what gets me is that there's so many women who want to argue with men when they talk about how men move and how women move, and they want to argue that there's no nature. But this Bible that you claim to know every Sunday says otherwise, and you don't know a doggone thing. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree, that's all it took. Just a look, man, that Birkin bag sure look good. You gonna buy that. Oh, you want to get a date with me? You gonna have to come out about 200. That's all it took, was just the look of the thing. Says the tree was good. It looked like it was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also into her husband, because they can't just go down by themselves. They got to share the foolishness with you. Oh, I saw this commercial. Guess what? This on sale. We can go do this deal. Hey, I got a Christmas list. All the while, this man working his tail off for somebody other than himself, and it doesn't even have a positive, proactive, foundational motive. He's out here killing himself for you. But I'm pointing all this out for a reason. So we're gonna speed up, because now we're gonna get to the part where God steps in. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is it that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent, he beguiled me, he tricked me, and I did eat. And so now the Lord goes out to his curses to the serpent. He says, And the Lord God said, we're in verse 14, and the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon the belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity or issue between thee and the woman. There's a significance about that because what God is doing right now, what Yahweh is doing right now, is prophesying to a second Adam that will be hung on a cross. And this is confirmation here. He says there will be enmity between thee and the woman. Why? Because she's carrying that life. And that's why you know right there that when you go throughout the scriptures and all of this murder that was done to these boys trying to stop Jesus from coming, trying to stop even what the serpent did here in the garden was to stop a seed. And now you transition to 2022. There's still a force after your seed. We're talking about nature here. So, and between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head. Talking about Jesus. And thou shalt bruise his heel, which he all that happened. He was crucified, he was wounded, but Jesus ultimately conquered him. And then he goes and tells the woman, after he says all this to the serpent, he says, unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. He's talking about the labor pains. That's also spiritual because that's a burden that you're going to carry even in the spiritual for your husband's purpose. But y'all care about yourselves too much. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Now I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to I want to see if this the NLT. This may be the NIV. There's another version that I want to go to, and I'm hoping I got it here. Might be the amplified version.
That's the one you want amplified.
It may be. I want to get the one where it's talking about. Let's see. It's not that version. Could it be the
You want the Message Bible?
There's a version that talks about how uh, it rewords that issue between it rewords that desires to your husband. A certain way that it puts it is something that you had shared with me before. And you see that's verse 16. Let's see verse 16, and we have let's see. Pardon me. The New Living Translation. Yes, here it is. New Living Translation. I thought I had it highlighted.
New Living. Let's find that one. New Living.
And so when you go to the New Living Translation, Genesis 3 and 16, the same verse that I just read you in the King James Version, it amplifies this thing a little bit and it says, then he said to the woman, I will sharpen the pain of your pregnancy, and in pain will you give birth, and you will desire to control your husband, but he will have rule over you.
Wow.
Now, that itself is prophetic.
Wow.
Because we said something a little bit earlier ago. I made a little joke, inside joke with you. And I said something to the effect that the first would be last, last should be first. And I pointed out the shape of the society today and how it looks like all of these agendas are in the forefront. You got Ye, you got Kyrie, you got a lot of people that ain't getting FaceTime like those two who have always talked about the forces behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz, so to speak. And whether we like it or not, some of those forces are those rainbow folks, those alphabet folks. And all of those factions and those agendas, they appear to be first, but one day you're going to look up and they're going to be very, very last because right now they're being fattened up for the slaughter. And all those men, God's chosen, God's image, from the jump that he created in his image, it's going to be a time period, and that time is now where they are looking into this word, where they are retooling what they were taught when they were younger, and they're unlearning that some of that foolishness that was wrong, and they're retooling on the stuff that is right, and they're getting a closer walk with the Lord, the one who created them, and they're getting to their purpose, and it's causing them to understand. Let me See, hold. Am I good?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. So now we're in a time period where those men who have kind of gotten away, because this is on us. This is on the ones who, the generations who have dropped the ball. Now it's our generation's turn. And we're going to get a lot of pushback and a lot of flack. And we're going to have all these missed messages. The same way that the enemy talked to the woman, you have little whispers out there talking to the woman of today. And this is why I always continuously say that. This is why I always continually say that um, if you have her ear, you have her heart. And so just getting at the table is progress. So when you say date them all, sis, do what you want to do, sis. Spread them for everybody, sis. That's activating something called narcissism.
Come on.
Whether you understand it or not, it's activating a selfish spirit within yourself. Now we're getting back to the nature of where that scriptures that I was flowing through has is broken down your nature. We saw the lust of the eye, we saw the lust of the flesh, we saw the pride of life. When the serpent touched on those areas, they lightened and brightened up Eve's eyes, and that's what pushed her over the edge to do wrong. But we're constantly saying, date them all, sis. Do it all, sis. You can believe with anybody, sis.
Come on.
Bodies don't matter, sis. We
Come on.
constantly putting all these things out that make it clear that Satan is your daddy because of the way you act. So, so now we go to Greek mythos. Lord Tyron know exactly where I'm going. We're going to go to Greek mythos, and we're going to talk about an individual named Narcissus, a hunter who the mythos says one day while Narcissus was hunting, he went to get a drink. And as he bent down to drink the water, he fell in love with the reflection of himself. He was so awed by his person that he could not move. He tried to grab the image, but he
Yeah.
couldn't,
Come
which
on.
made him more infatuated with
Mhm.
himself. You talk about you talk about the foreshadowing. And
Yeah.
ultimately, as you go deeper into the story, Greek mythos, of course, you go deeper into the story, it breaks down how he could not move. He stayed there to that in that water. He could not, be removed from his reflection so long to the point where he ultimately, obviously, fell asleep there and drowned because he could not be pulled away from himself. He could not be pulled from his reflection. He could not be pulled from his vanity. And so now, as all I always tell Lord Tyron Joe, and I tell anybody I communicate with, is this: you have to learn how to understand what you're reading and what you're seeing, and then have the ability to correlate it to the present. Because what you got people saying the most all the time, oh, it's 2022. In other words, what they're trying to say when they say that, because we got 1 month left, and then they're going to be saying it's 2023. You know what that really means? They're saying, oh, just go ahead with the times. Just follow everybody and what they're doing. Just
Come
accept.
on.
Yeah, I know what the scriptures say. I know what y'all claim is happening. I know it's what's being put out there, but follow the crowd. No, we're not doing that.
Come
Because
on.
those very scriptures say that when all else fails, go back to your first works. Everything we need is right here. Everything right that is in front of us, it's in plain sight, and we ignore it, and we pander, and we tuck things under rugs, and we just act like it doesn't exist, so that we can pretty much spoil and pander, and eventually make and create entitled brats. And you know who those entitled brats hurt the most? Somebody's son. Somebody's son. And that's where a lot of the brothers are failing because you're saying crazy things like, "Oh, she wrapped around my little finger. I can't never tell her no.
Come
She
on.
rush, she run the house." And then we
Come
wonder
on.
how it gets to a place where it's happy wife, happy life, because it continues to materialize. It continues to maturate the goofy things that you say. And then you wonder why there's so much foolishness out here. So, so narcissism is an extreme self involvement to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them. While everyone may show occasional narcissistic behavior, true narcissists frequently disregard others or their feelings. They also do not understand the effect of their behaviors and what it has on others. So, in other words, when it comes down to it, when you're dealing with a true narcissist, because Laura Tyron Joy and myself, we've heard a lot of these dating shows, none greater at this moment, at this current moment, than Miss Kendra G, and how she's got all these foolish girls. Now you have the occasional people talking about, the way that they came at Kevin Samuels, may rest in power. Now they spin it on Kendra and say, "Oh, she brings these girls on here to embarrass themselves. She know they ghetto. She know they hood. She know they did. We ain't trying to hear none of that." They coming on the show, they showing who they are, and kudos to that, because we need to see that it's real. Because when brothers who have a backbone like myself and Lord Tyron Joe speak about this, oh, it doesn't exist. That can't be the case. But then you have the women themselves, Kendra G, the likes of her herself, put this stuff out there, and you get to see night after night. She probably on right now because it's about the time. And they come on this show for 2 hours and they make themselves look like crap. Baby mama of five, four baby daddies, baby mama, baby mama that got an 18-year-old left talking about she queer and all this other stuff and pastoring churches. What do we got going on here? We got the foolishness and the self-absorbing spirit of of the modern day woman who has, just like Eve had to say, that the serpent beguiled me, and this is what you see. What you see is what you get. And they expect you to take a bad deal and take on the narcissist. But here's the deal. Just like the alpha and the beta words that have lost their whatever might want to say, their mystique, or whatever the ability was behind those words, just like even the word Illuminati, those words that you constantly just keep throwing out of there day after day, month after month, decade after decade, a lot of them has lost that vigor or that mystique because you use it so much not even knowing what the heck it is. I sit up here and I watch daily women make the excuse, just like when you find out, when you can ask 10 people, why was there a divorce? And you could actually put your money where your mouth is, because it's open record. You just go pay for it. Now you go and you see all these different people. There's 75% of people that have divorced or filed. Everything is filed up under a rug, calling reconcilable differences. Well, speed that up to this. You're watching these shows, you're talking to people on a regular, and for some reason, for some mythical reason, every freaking woman, I listened to about 5 women in a row tell Kendra G, and when it got to the fifth person, she kind of laughed. You might think it's funny, but I also was with a narcissist. Oh, you also. So all y'all got the same excuse. Just everybody was with a narcissist. Every time Kendra G asking these women to put their stuff on Front Street and tell why they not with their husbands, or tell why they not with their baby daddy no more. Oh, it's just always, he was just a narcissist. He was a narcissist. And then when you come down to a woman actually even making a post on social media, anything like that, she'll give all these descriptions of an addict or an abuser or any other type of thing. Not one characteristic of a narcissist, but he's a narcissist. And I'm saying to myself, because there's a lot of times when I push back on it and I tell them, you have described this or you described that. I ain't seen nothing about a narcissist. But here's where a narcissist is. This is inside the mind of a narcissist. A narcissist have no empathy. They don't care about you. They can watch you. They'll stomp on you to survive. Oh, that spirit of survival was a mother sucker. And I'm telling you, they'll stomp on you not even understanding that your life brings them something. The fact that they're even connected to you by the scriptures. Now, we want to just go man and woman. By the scriptures, your connection to a man brings you favor, starting with his seed. But you don't even understand that whatever you was doing before, there's a switch that clicks and switches on when that child is growing in your body, bonding with you, and eventually birthed it and connecting with you, because that's the favor coming from your Lord on earth so that you can mature and leave all the foolishness behind that you've been doing with your girls and everybody else. It's time to grow upwards. It's not time. Y'all, a lot of y'all had so much complaining and now so much appreciation all of a sudden for those teachers when that little COVID first hit, and y'all wanted to throw them babies back to school. Oh, I understand what the teacher's talking about. Nah, no, you just lazy and don't know what to do, and you don't have no tolerance or no type of patience to stick with what really should be going on, which is you teaching your child and not get some little break while they go to school for hours, an 8-hour shift. Something's wrong with that. Something is absolutely wrong with it. But you want your time, and you put post up talking about you need breaks from your children, and I need a break from this, and I need a break. How you need a break? Can you ever get a break from yourself? Surely you're never going to be able to get a break from your little self in that child. It's not going to happen. And you just don't hear brothers talking like this because it's something down in us. And the difference between us and that woman, a lot of times, is the fact that the narcissistic spirit, it really, that foundation really starts in you. Not saying that a man can't be a narcissist, but there's certain things that are in a man heavy and a woman can have a little piece, and there's certain things that's in a woman heavy and vice versa, or whatever the case may be. It flip-flops. That's why when you come together, there's balance, and there's certain things that a man does to balance you out and vice versa. That's why, as emotional as you can be, his logic is supposed to bring some peace to you and some balance to you and set the temperature to you. But you fight it. You fight it because, again, I just told you, narcissist has no empathy. Also, there is no selflessness in them. They are selfish. It's all about them. I'm bringing the table. You ought to just be happy to be connected to me. Are you serious? A person who's been working his tail off, you walked in to me having this and this, that, and other, and I'm supposed to be just excited that I'm connected to you. There's a ton of you at the end of the day, if you want to put it like that. Y'all outnumber us. So how in the world are you trying to have that conversation that a lot of us don't even want to go there? But when you come in talking about you are the table and saying stuff like that, and all you got women on the internet now in actually making jokes and saying little silly stuff like all I have to offer is my gawk gawk and what's down between my thighs, that's a problem. That's a problem because you know your worth, but you pretend like you don't. So now the other thing, the narcissists have no time. They have no time for you. You on their clock. You ought to be thankful just to be around them. When I'm ready, I'm ready. Oh, and when I am ready, you're gonna take me out and you're gonna give me a Disneyland fantasy. You're gonna give me a Disneyland experience. You better be ready to spend two, three, four, $500 and get my nails done. It's all this foolishness. There is no equal investment with them. They don't, like I said, they don't care about no time. They don't understand that you're supposed to be yin and yang and balance each other out and not even be the opposite sex but the complementing sex. They don't get it. So there's no equal investment. They think they are the show and the prize and all this other little stuff that they throw on themselves, and they get drunk with the girls and they go out with the girls and they trip and they hype each other up and gas each other up. And girl, if it was me, girl, and girl, if I wouldn't dick this girl, and girl, you should go back and this, that girl. And that's why you got so many sad mugs out here. And that dog laying in that bed is looking real lonely over there. Another thing they don't have, ultimately, they don't have compromise. And then they they don't have compromise, and they're so delusional that they're out of touch with reality. So you get to be in their life, they are the table, everything is literally about them. They are
Come on.
delusional, and only they exist in their Disneyland classic of entitlement.
Come
So
on.
this is what we have. This is what we have. And Lord Tyron Joe already knows how I roll because in my lane, I say it all the time. I don't say nothing that a woman don't say first. Even when I first gave my reaction to Black Panther, Romance Forever, when I gave my first reaction, it was actually a shared reaction from a woman, and she went in about it. So now that sets the table for anybody that want to talk about men are emotional and all this different stuff. They attacked that woman. They took her stuff down off of I believe it was Instagram, or TikTok. It was one of her platforms. They took her statement down, talking about it was bullying and all this other stuff, because this woman said that there was no men and that she hated that it was a lack of men in this movie. And I shared this in my stories when after I first saw that Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So at the end of the day, again, I don't share anything or put anything out that I haven't seen a woman put out there first, or there haven't been a conversation where women collectively have surrounded King Dwayne and told him this is how it really goes. Even at work, when I first started working there, even to now I know the truth. Because when I came in, women were telling me it's a circus back here, it's a high school back there with them women. They talked about the women. Didn't nobody talk about the men? Because everywhere you go, it's about fact. You can be at the cubicle, you can be at the kiosk, you can be in a triage. It don't matter where you are. It's gonna be a high school effect when you gather these women in the same place. And let there be a new Johnny, or let there be a new Mike, or let there be a new Billy. These women gonna talk. I got dibs on that girl. I'm gonna get that girl, because they have these conversations, whether you want to not back it or reject it or be in denial or whatever the case may be. I know what I'm talking about. Lord Tyron Joe know what he's talking about, because whether y'all accept it or not, we got a select group of females who are not afraid to talk to us and tell us what it is. And it's the same on the other side. There's a select group of men that'll tell women about Pookies and Ray Rays. But at the end of the day, when the secrets are out, believe them, fix them, do something about it, have the backbone to deal with the issue. And we got a major issue right now. We got a major issue. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how much of that Lord Tyron Joe can say on the screen. I don't know how much of that he got at his fingertips. But daily, there is a ton of women. I sent them information before we started of how these women maneuver through these platforms, and they show themselves off, and they play in cameras. And guess what? Sometimes they bring their little men, their betas, along for the ride. Let them stand in the background and, whoo, girl, gas them up and put batteries in their back, because the phone is their husband. You know why the phone is their husbands for real and they man for real? Because they needed to advertise their narcissistic self. Because true narcissists ain't none of these abusive things that y'all spitting out. It's the love, the intense over love of yourself. That's what true narcissism is. Hate to burst your bubble, but I really don't. True narcissism is a over love of yourself, over love of yourself to the point where nothing else exists. You're going to do whatever you got to do to survive. You're going to do whatever you got to do to get what you want. You're going to step on whoever you got to step on to get your way, because you have a surviving narcissistic spirit. And we see it all over the internet. Brothers, if you ain't got the backbone to shut this stuff down, and God forbid you one of them who go along for the ride, who play along for the ride. The number is very low of men who sit up acting like they're the beauty queen in the house. Now, that's y'all that play in the mirror. That's y'all that take forever to get ready. That's y'all that got all these filters for, and then you try to pull your man in and say, "Why don't you get in the dog ears and the tongue licking out too?" Ain't no real man trying to do that. Get going on with that. We ain't being pulled into your foolishness. But that's what's happening to today. And that's my spill on it. That is true narcissism. Know what it looks like in today. Plain and simple. Floor is yours, Lord Tyron Joe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Give a round of applause for the monologue.
Greetings, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in to the BzNZ Internet Talk Radio Show YouTube page. We appreciate your generosity and your support. If you are new to the page, please do us a real quick favor. That is hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to let you know when we are live. Also, everyone else that's listening, please hit the like button. Please hit the share button. We greatly appreciate your generosity and your support. Peace.